Everyone, and welcome back to MTL Sports Podcast. We are here with episode 16. We are getting pretty far into the NBA offseason, about 2 weeks deep, but we got the draft coming up this week, so we will continue with our grading series. With the pick 3 and pick 4 this year's draft, we got the Trailblazers and the Rockets. And then after that, we have Dalvin Cook, who was recently released by the Vikings. Where will his next landing spot be? And then, of course, we'll finish the show off with rapid fire. So stay tuned, y'all. Hi, everyone. Let's start with the NBA regular season grading series. Today, we got the two West teams for you. Got the pick number 3 and pick number 4. The Portland Trailblazers and the Houston Rockets. Now let's go ahead and start off with the Rockets, since there's a little bit of drama in Portland. So we'll start with the Rockets, leave the drama for the end. Lawrence, how do we feel about the Rockets? You know, they're a bunch of young guns. They can score, can't really play defense. How would you rate their season? And will the young guns look this offseason? Will they add some more youngins, or are they going to add a good vet to, get them straight?
Well, the vet in question joining them at a possibility is James Harden. I don't know if he's going to keep them in order, or maybe delay some of their maturities by taking them to Vegas a little bit. They get 2 first-round picks. There's nothing wrong with that. You can try to get some extra, pieces out of it. It's just certain players that that are gonna stay. Like, they have Boban. Boban's probably gonna leave. He didn't even play for them anyways. Willie Cauley-Stein, I didn't even know he was still in the league. Frank Kaminsky, I didn't even know he was on the Rockets.
Frank the Tank.
Frank's been in Phoenix forever. Maybe Frank goes back to Phoenix on the minimum. They probably don't want him. Kenyon Martin Jr., he's on a team. He's probably gonna with a team clause. He'll probably stay. Stay with the team and ride it for another year. DJ Augustine. I'm just looking at this thing and I'm like confused a little bit because I didn't even know half these players are still in the league. I know that might be a casual of me to say that I didn't know half these guys are still in the league, but I will sound extremely casual that I did not realize that all these guys were still around. I essentially think that they should give Kenyon Martin a little bit of extra money. I think he's played better than his contract has given him. However, I wouldn't be willing to pay him a whole lot extra. Because you still need to build around something. I don't think the pieces that they have are much to build around, but I do think that they have a good enough young group of talent that has seen like an entire year of exciting play. We'll just say that. In terms of the 4th overall pick, though, do you really at the best players are the top 3, and then we think there's like a big fall behind that? Who says you don't try to trade back and maybe get like another, not a role piece, but another like a 6-man elderly kind of leader piece? No, I realize I just put that on the table and I don't have another elderly leader piece to push with it. But those are all the things that come to mind. I don't think Ime Udoka is going to take I don't think he's going to allow the team to be trashed for a fair bit of time. I think he's going to try to make moves pretty quickly. There's no telling if he even tries to go after some former Celtic players that he's familiar with. Grant Williams is going to be a free agent.
Yeah.
He can bring some veteran leadership in there. might not be the greatest, it might not be the best, it may not be the worst, but still a guy who you don't have to pay a whole lot for, but you still got to pay a little bit towards. You still got a lot of money to give up, though. He should be able to give like a leadership role to a lot of your guys. In terms of grading the season, though, I mean, if I look at it in the sense of how they played during the season, it would be pretty poor. However, how their team now looks going into the offseason with the new coach, a lot of money to spend. Some players who are actually interested, whether good ones or bad ones, like James Harden being interested in your team, it doesn't excite me too much.
No.
But I mean, it's not the worst thing. I mean, you were supposed to be bad, and you were bad. But you didn't have Cade Cunningham the whole time. Whether or not Cade Cunningham even pans out, we don't know. We find out this week if Cade Cunningham's going to be their future or not. If they go point guard, shooting guard, do they try to move him? I guess there's certain things like that. I mean, I don't even know. I'm trying to look it up right now. Like a piece they're even trying to pick up. Like I don't know anyone. What is it? Oof, I don't even know who that is. So
one of the Thompson brothers. I'm guessing it's the name you saw.
Yeah, I don't even know who that is.
Sewer. That's probably.
But I mean, I know Anthony Black from Arkansas, and he made Arkansas really good for these last couple of years. I mean, I just think a talent like that is a little bit more enticing towards me from watching basketball in the college level. I mean, Arkansas has made 2 big runs in the NCAA tournament. I get it. Everyone might not think Elite 8 runs are really exciting, but a lot of teams don't make it to the Elite 8. So the fact that you make it to the Elite 8 means something. And this last time they beat up Kansas to make it there, and they were one of the favorites. So, I mean, Arkansas, for the last couple of years, has been pretty consistent at playing bullies to bigger houses, to bigger talents. If I'm Houston, I got nothing to lose. Well, I am, again, the team with the lesser talent, and I need to bully bigger talent. I think Anthony Black's a good pickup. I think Anthony Black's a little too low on most people's boards. I mean, I don't know if they just didn't pay attention to Arkansas, the college, enough. Like, SEC for the last couple of years, I mean, he had to play Brandon Miller twice a year. Like, he's not out there playing scrubs or anything. He's playing good talents. So I guess in the total, the grand schemes, I give it like a C. What they got out and everything. I can't really go higher. I mean, their draft pick is not the best. 4th. It's on that verge of like all the good ones are gone. Now I got to try to take a risk at some of these guys that are in the G League or some of these college guys that aren't proven. But I guess if I have to give them something, I'll give them a C. I think the Rockets have a good. I think they can is the better word. I think they can have a pretty good future.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm not talking playoffs though.
Oh yeah, they're
2 or 3 years.
Playoffs is not in their near future. Especially they don't even have a bona fide, like you said, they don't even have a bona fide star to build around. They don't even have like a budding star. I think yes.
Was it Bojan's their best player? No, sorry, that's the Pistons. I don't even know how I'm talking about.
And their best player is probably Jalen Green, but
yeah.
C I respect. I'm probably gonna go a step up. I say C plus. I feel like getting the 4th pick is probably why I'm giving him a C plus. I know you mentioned trading back, which they could technically if they like. Well, here's the thing, because the Thompson brothers, one can shoot better than the other. One is more of a playmaker. I don't know which one is which. I just know that one. They're both really good, but they both have different things that teams value. So if they want to go for the other Thompson twin that's projected to go like 5th or 6th, then I feel like you could move back, like you said. But I feel like at the 4 spot, you're good just in case, because I don't know if you hear the reports, but Brandon Miller apparently has been having not too impressive workouts. So I don't foresee him, leaving that top 3. I feel like the top 3 is pretty solidified. But, I mean, we see it like every other year or every couple of years where we have a prospect who's, we for sure think they're going to go top 3 or top 4, and then they start dropping. So that might happen to Brandon Miller. But we'll see. I feel like 4 is like a good spot to stay at. Draft one of the Thompson twins, and then I feel like they're in a spot where they just got to keep, getting talent, just like the Hornets. You just got to keep getting talent and just hope one hits. Like the Hornets already have LaMelo. Okay, one swing, you landed one person, then you got to keep swinging. Hopefully, you land another hit. But I mean, you already said it. They have a lot of cap space. I wouldn't give it all to James Harden. James Harden's contract is probably going to be like $40 million the first year. That's like 2/3 of your cap right there. I know you have like 12 or 13 contracts for next season on the books already. So I don't know. They're still too young to have like a Hall of Fame type player like James Harden just take away all of their minutes and all of their like usage rates, because he's just gonna have the ball in their hands and just tell them to catch and shoot. And I don't feel like that's good for their development. I don't feel like. No, go ahead.
They don't have a true point guard though. Like, I don't know if Harden comes in there as a true point guard. Maybe because at his older age in his career, he might just start up as straight point guard. But like, I mean, their 3 best players are Sagoon, Jalen Green, and Kevin Porter Jr. Shooting guard, and center. The problem with Kevin Porter Jr. is he's a little too short to move to small forward. And Jalen Green's the same height, but too skinny to move to small forward. So then their best small forward isn't even an ideal small forward. I mean, he's 6'5", but he's 230, and Jayshawn Tate.
Yeah, I imagine if Harden goes there, they're probably waiving KPG because his contract's non-guaranteed anyway. Only the first year is guaranteed. So they'll probably waive him, get some extra money for Harden, and let Harden run the show. But I feel like Kevin Porter Jr. played well enough to like keep his contract, at least for now. I know at some point he's going to get waived, but I feel like he's played well enough that, hey, let's just keep him on the payroll. Like, we need to pay people anyway, so let's just keep him. I feel like, like Harden, he's not. He might want to go there, but I feel like Houston, if they really want to keep like developing their young guys, they gotta just like tell him no. Like, we're not going to sign you. I feel like that's just, you're like ruining their development timeline. I mean, Sagoon likes to have the ball. He gets triple doubles like, every so often. Kevin Porter Jr., he's a good passer. Jalen Green, and he really just chucks up shots, but he could get better as a playmaker.
I mean, their salary is Jalen Green's their highest paid player at $9 million, which is not bad. But I mean, Jabari Smith and Jayshawn Tate are your 2 next highest paid players, which is not okay. I don't see an instance in which, okay, we're going for this younger role, right? I don't see a point in keeping like a Jayshawn Tate. Like, there's no point.
Yeah,
you could try to move him.
At some point, they have just too many young guys at this point, so they're going to have to start picking and choosing which ones they want to keep, because at some point, you have to start paying like all of them, and you don't want to keep giving all these kids like rookie extensions that start at like $10-12 million. Some might get the max rookie extension, so then you paying them 20-30. So it's not really sustainable. So maybe like this, like you're saying, like, yeah, maybe we start trimming the fat this year. It's probably a good thing to do. But they definitely need a vet. I feel like Grant Williams is a good choice. Give him about $20 million, just to step in, be your starting small forward, power forward, veteran leadership. I feel like if Brook Lopez wants the money, he should go there. Who else is out there?
If Brooke Lopez goes there, is he going to be 6-man or?
This means a starting center. They don't have a center.
Well, Sagoon is a starting center. They're just going to move him to power forward?
Man, I believe so. Pitt Jabari at small forward.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, if it's me, I might be trying to move. I mean, he doesn't get paid anything, but I'm trying to move Boban I don't want to re-sign Boban. It'd be kind of foolish if they did. I'm probably not bringing back Frank Kaminsky. If I could, I'd want to move Jayshawn Tate just not to have to pay him. He's constantly hurt. I mean, if you could move Jayshawn Tate for an older veteran-like player and another team who's willing to move away from their older veteran player for a younger, I guess, more sprightly player that can pretty much, their contracts match up. So it's kind of like a 1-for-1. Maybe the Rockets give up a second, to make the deal a little sweeter. I don't know. Just your average, player who's a little older comes in there and does exactly what you need him to do, and that's just tell people how to play the game correctly.
Yeah, I agree. I'm trying to find their cap situation because at some point,
it's like $60 million.
Yeah, they have to reach the minimum cap, and you can still have cap space after you hit the soft cap. So if they have $60 million in free space, they probably need to spend at least 30. I feel like at least half of that they have to spend. So they're kind of in the bind. They kind of gonna have to. They probably will have to overpay somebody like Grant Williams or Christian Wood might come back, or who else is out there? I don't know. It's hard to say. Maybe Max Strus could get 10 or 12 million there. I feel like Strus is coming back to the Heat, so he might get his 10 to 15 million there. Yeah, someone. I mean, any type of player who wants money. Maybe Schroeder. If Schroeder doesn't want to go back to the Lakers, he goes to the Rockets. I don't know. I feel like if you want to get paid this summer, I feel like a free agent, you go to Houston if you don't care about, losing. They have plenty of money to spend. But I think C+ is fair. They got Ime, coach of the future. They have a lot of young contracts, cheap contracts who they can parlay into trades, moving forward. They got draft picks moving forward. I feel like the future is bright for them. But C+ is what I got from that.
I mean, so I'm looking at different things, different trade maneuvers that you can do based on that Jayshawn Tate contract. I mean, Jackson Hayes, you can give up. He's on the last year of his deal. If the Pelicans don't feel like keeping him, they can move on and sweeten the pie by giving a second round pick. Kobe White. Chicago might not want to pay him, and I can just bring in Jayshawn Tate, and then I solve my problem of not wanting to pay Kobe White, and I get a couple second round picks because they probably, in the grand schemes, probably don't want to pay him. I mean, that's just probably the fact. They probably don't want to have to pay Kobe White. He's just a little small, but that does solve the problem for Houston in their point guard department. And then they let Kobe White play for that contract for the year, and then maybe they honor it and they re-sign him, or they say nah and they move on. So
I like those trades.
Yeah, those are just the two that those are just basically sign-in trades and give me a couple second-round picks and I'll make your deal kind of thing.
Yeah, but yeah. I feel like the Bulls have picked Kobe White. He's been on the trade block for 2 years, 2+ years. So they're not going to pay him. Rockets could, I don't know, offer to sign him. Maybe not.
I'll just offer it. If you play good with us, we'll sign you for another year. It solves our point guard problem. We have a bona fide point guard. It gives him a chance to prove something because he's not playing behind anybody.
Well said. I like it. Well, let's move on to the drama team, the Portland Trailblazers. They snuck their way into the third pick in the draft for this year. They have a lot riding on that third pick, however. Basically, the future of the franchise is on the third pick. Either you pick your face of your franchise with that pick, or you trade your face of your franchise right now because you can't find a legitimate offer to make your team like a contender, or at least like be in contention. Like, you don't have to be a contender, but if you can at least get into like the Heat spot where everything goes right, you get in a hot streak, you can sneak your way into the finals. Unless they can't find a move like that, then I think Dame has to go. But I'll let you have the floor first. What's Portland's grade for this past regular season, and what should they prioritize for the offseason?
I mean, my thing is they should prioritize the fact that either you kind of be like the Wizards and say, hey, either Beal's our future or Beal's not our future. And the Wizards took probably about 2 days to figure out that Beal is not their future. They didn't care about the loyalty or anything about it.
No.
So I think maybe it's time to look at it the same way. And if you're them, I mean, there's just certain players on this team that you kind of have to ask yourself, why are they on this team? Especially for what you're paying them. I mean, I think if you can find a trade piece for Anthony Simons, personally, I'm not a fan of Nurkic. I think he gets hurt way too often.
Yes. Yes.
And you can find someone just take on that contract, maybe get some kind of piece for it, or just the luxury of losing that money. Get rid of players like you don't need Kevin Knox the second, especially not for $6 million a year. That's just idiotic. You don't need Cam Reddish for $6 million a year. Just don't re-sign him.
Man,
I would keep Matisse Thybulle though for only. How much more are you going to pay him? He's getting $4.3 million. He can't shoot, but he can play. He can shoot threes sometimes, but he can play hella defense. And if Lillard's going to be on your team, it's essentially what you need is someone that's just going to take up the slack for Lillard's lack of defensive effort half the time. So I can see keeping Thybulle just because if I'm going to build around Lillard, that might be a thing I have to do. I mean, does Justin Winslow even play?
Oh, yeah. He played big minutes, especially when
everybody was hurt.
Yeah, he was playing big minutes, especially when Josh Hart left, too. He was basically one of their only guys.
I remember Skylar Mays being pretty good. Oh, yeah. I remember him playing. But I don't know. I think it's easy to just blow it up. I mean, the season grade, when they were all healthy playing together, it was probably like a B- when they were all playing good together and healthy. As soon as that fell apart, okay, I'll grade it in 3 ways. So when they were all healthy playing together, it was a B-.
Okay.
When it was Jeremy Grant carrying the team, I'd give it a B when Jeremy Grant was carrying them basically solo.
So the middle part.
And once he was gone and everyone else was hurt, I'll just give it a D because that was
so the back half. So you basically,
if you want me to get an overall grade, it's like a C-.
Okay, so you basically you described the first third, the middle third, and the last third of the season.
I mean, dude, there's a reason why this team on my FanDuel account was my favorite NBA team. I mean, they were just fun to watch. You could bet the over all the time.
They don't play defense.
If they played a good defensive team, just bet the under because they still put the over way too high. It was easy to always pick whatever team they were playing. If they were on the road, just pick the other team. So there's a reason why my FanDuel thought I was a Portland Trailblazers fan, big fan. I'm a little bit of a fan. I like their entertaining style of basketball, but I mean, even if you let Lillard go, I still think you try to keep Grant. I think he's a bona fide stud. I think he's something that can help build the next chapter with.
Yeah, I agree. And I said it before. Basically, if you're gonna blow this thing up, or basically if you're gonna keep Lillard, you gotta keep Grant. If you're gonna blow it up, probably still keep Grant. He's just too good to let go. Wings in this league are just too hard to find, and once you find them, you just gotta keep them. So I feel like they found their wing of the future. You gotta keep Grant.
Especially by the time they're kind of good, like he's only gonna be like 31, 32.
Yeah, he's probably gonna be up for another contract, so you just give him another one, and then when you're 31, you're still in your prime. You're probably players nowadays don't decline until like 34, 35. So like you still would have like a good 2 or 3 years. So I'm down with that. Yeah, I'm torn because I want Dame to stay just like everyone else, but I mean the writing's on the wall. Like I don't foresee a trade at 3 that could make them like significantly better. Like even with the Zion thing going around and the possibility that they could trade that 3rd pick and Simons for Zion, like I don't think that doesn't make them like that much better. Like the question marks are still, will Zion play a lot? He could play 60 games, and I don't think Portland's still not they're still not the 5th best team in the West. I feel like even with Zion and Dame, I still feel like you put the Nuggets ahead of them. You definitely put the Suns. The Lakers are ahead of them. Clippers, they're like the 5th best team at that, even with Zion. So I don't think that trade would make them that much better. I don't think that would satisfy Dame. And then if you try and trade pick 23, that's not going to get you too much. I mean, the Wizards didn't want Miami's pick 18, so they took 6. We'll talk about this later, but they took 6 second rounds instead. So, like, I don't know what you get for 23. So, I'm gonna start with the Dame thing. I think Dame should just ask to get traded, or if he's stubborn, Portland should just move him. He doesn't have no trade. I feel like you just move him. Say, hey, we're just gonna draft Scoot. Where do you want to go? And he'll give a list. We already know Miami and Brooklyn are the top 2 on that list. So, hey, we'll work with those 2. They're both East, so it won't be that much of a problem, as opposed to if he wanted a team out West, they might have like a problem sending him to like, I don't know, the Lakers or somebody, whoever would want him. So, going back to the grade, I feel like just because they lucked into pick 3, I feel like it's a B minus. I feel like if you suck all season and you end up with Scoot Henderson, I feel like it's a pretty good season. Maybe not for Dame, but if you're at Portland, you're like, okay, I got the 3rd pick. I got Scoot. I got Simons. I got Grant. Like, maybe I don't full on rebuild, but maybe I soft retool for like 2 or 3 seasons. Maybe rack up another lottery pick next season, because they pretty sure they owe. Who do they owe a pick? I think Chicago. I think they owe Chicago a pick, a top 14 pick starting next year. So if they land in the lottery each of the next 3 seasons, so 25, 26, 27, they keep the pick basically. If they land outside of it, the pick goes to Chicago. So they'll probably keep their picks moving forward, because if they don't have Beal, they're probably going to be pretty trash. So yeah, we'll draft Scoot, get rid of Dame, get some picks back, develop some young guys. You have Shadane Sharp, who's looking like he's going to be a stud. Like you said earlier, let's move Nurkic. That contract's bad. Plus, he's just injury prone. Not a good guy to have going forward. And your free agents, you already named some of them. Thibault, maybe they re-sign if he's cheap. Reddish, gone. Knox, gone. Eubanks, I would keep because he played good in stretches. And Winslow, same thing, good in stretches. Some of these other guys, I guess, are just rookies I never heard of, so they do as they wish with those. But But yeah, if you're Portland though, what's like the baseline for your trade though? If you trade Beal, like what would you do that the Wizards didn't do, basically? Are you going to get first round picks, or are you going to take like 10 second rounds? Like, what do you think? How do you think that goes?
I mean, I want if I'm getting rid of Lillard, like I want a lot, right? I want I want some value here.
The Wizards, I think, thought the same, but that's not what they ended up with.
I think they just wanted. I think the Wizards just wanted money. I mean, with Beal getting paid so much, I think the new owner was just like, I just want money, and I just want to be able to spend some money. And if I have Beal on my roster, I can't really spend any money because all my money is tied up to Kuzma is going to get paid by them. They're going to pay Kuzma. And Porzingis is there. They probably think Porzingis is a building piece. So if all my money is tied to the three of them, I can't really do anything. However, I have Kuzma and Porzingis. I mean, a bunch of 6 second-round picks are just kind of like just different pieces to trade with. It's just you can just give a team 4 second-round picks, and it's just gonna turn someone's head. Like 4 picks though, 4 second-round picks. It's a lot of second-round picks. So
Portland's money is tied up into Dame. So what do they do? Do they do something similar?
I just think Dame is a higher talent than Beal.
I agree.
This last couple of years, we can't even tell if Dame's been hurt or the Trailblazers are just so bad they just decided not to play him. I mean,
probably both.
I'm trying in my head think of a scenario in which they can give up Anthony Simons for McCall Bridges.
I think Bridges is off limits.
Nah.
Especially after when he got to Brooklyn and he was putting up like 25, 27, 30, 40 one game. Like, no, he's Brooklyn's he's the guy in Brooklyn. I don't think no one's gonna be able to touch him.
Why not? Dude, come on, dude.
Especially if Brooklyn wants Dame, no, they're not gonna trade him.
Brooklyn doesn't want Dame. Chill out. That's just not going to happen. I'm just trying to find a place to send Simons, and then just doing whatever you can to get Nurkic out of there. I don't know where you're going to get him to, but just get him out of there.
Yeah, I don't see. That's the thing. Like I said earlier, I don't think there's a trade that moves the needle. I feel like Zion's probably the best bet. If they wanted it, if somehow they could get BI, I feel like that's not much better. Who else is out there? Zach LaVine. If they wanted to pay the price for Zach LaVine, I still don't feel like Zach LaVine and Dame does it either. Julius Randle, no, not really. Who else might be available? I feel like that's it.
No, you're right. I'm looking all around the league trying to find something. I just can't find anything.
Yeah, everyone else
can't find anything.
Everyone else is pretty content with what they have. There's only a few teams that would want to unload another star caliber player, and one that's actually gonna immediately help Beal. I don't feel like. Bradley Beal was probably the only one that probably could actually help him, but he's just a younger. Well, I don't know if he's actually younger than CJ, but he's probably better. And they didn't even. I feel like pick 23 and a couple of, seconds could have got that done. If you would have included maybe not Simons, but you probably could have included Sharp maybe. Maybe you risk it, get them Sharp. Someone else, pick 23 in a couple seconds. I feel like they could have threw that into the ring, maybe the Wizards would have taken that. Maybe if the Wizards want to move KP, does KP help Beal? Those are kind of small. Like I feel like it's kind of like Zion. It really doesn't do too much, right?
No. I mean, we don't even know how good Zion is anymore. I mean, guy never plays. We never know how good he's actually going to be, how good he actually could be. I don't even know if him going to Portland, I mean, is Lillard going to be able to tell him to eat right? Is he even going to care what he says?
If CJ couldn't get through to him, and he's not Dame, but he's still pretty damn good. If he couldn't get through to him, I don't know who is or who will. I don't even think LeBron or Kevin Durant could get to that kid. He's just going to do what he wants because he had all that hype. He thinks he's the ish.
I mean, I'm now thinking about another team that you got to look at. Toronto, since they got a new coach, how much of the old squad does he want to keep? How much does he want to try to rebuild and move pieces around?
You think Siakam? He's probably more in line with Zion or
like OG is he could be moved. Would you trade like a Anthony Simons and a Nurkic for an OG and probably not Siakam at that point, not the same value, but I don't know. I'm just trying to think of just different trades. It's pretty horrible.
Maybe I don't know. Maybe they sign and trade for James Harden if they can make that money work. I don't know. I feel like James Harden at this point is, I don't know. He's more that point guard. So I don't think if you take the ball out of Dame's hands and just make him like a catch and shoot guy, or just like they play like, hey, it's your turn. Hey, it's your turn. Like I don't feel like that does them any good either.
Yeah, I think we've just gotten to this point now where it's pretty evident that moving off Lillard is probably the best move, and then just cutting all the fat out of that.
Yeah.
I think this is a synopsis that we've gotten.
And basically, I think we both probably agree that you probably have to make that move by Thursday. I feel like if you try to wait this thing out, I feel like Dame's trade value probably goes down because your teams are probably like, okay, they're probably going to trade him. But if you do like a surprise trade, like up until the draft, you probably could get way more, don't you think? Like I feel like it has to happen by Thursday. Like you can't drag this thing out. Like if it gets to the trade deadline and people know Dame's on a trading block, they're not going to give you 3 firsts or 4 firsts. They'll probably just give you 1 and say, take it or leave it. I know you want to get off this money.
Yeah. That's what it boils down to.
Hate to see it, but I think like CJ said on ESPN, I think the writing's on the wall. I think his last days in Portland were back in April. So we'll see. We'll see by Thursday what happens. But moving on, we have our next topic, Dalvin Cook, recently released by the Vikings. What does his future look like? We will discuss. Dalvin Cook, former Minnesota Viking running back, he was released by the team for basically cap reasons, right? They don't want to pay that contract of his. They didn't want to extend him either. So I'll toss it to you, Lawrence. What does his future look like? And then also like a bigger question, like what does the future of running backs look like? Just because I feel like every team is just refusing to pay running backs, even though some of them are putting up not historical numbers, but pretty damn good numbers, and we really don't see a fall off of their production.
I mean, my thoughts are, I'll just deep into it. I mean, I had this little list made up right before the trade, and I was going to talk about it, but I just kind of saved it. So if you had traded Cook, you would have saved $11 million. Couldn't find a trade piece for Cook. If you cut Cook, however, you saved $9 million. So you only lost $2 million, but $9 million is a lot of money. The reason why they need money, they need money because Justin Jefferson has to get paid. Justin Jefferson is probably going to become the highest paid wide receiver, if not second to Chase.
Yeah, Chase is next year,
regardless,
but
he's going to
Jefferson's this
be
year.
regardless he's going to be highest paid at one point in time. So Dalvin Cook is the third highest paid running back. Now, I'll ask you this: do you think Dalvin Cook is the third best running back in the NFL?
Who's ahead of him? McCaffrey.
Well, so the other higher paid running backs,
Henry.
the only people that are paid more is McCaffrey and Kamara.
Cook is comparable to Kamara. Henry is probably the only one I would put above Cook.
So, in my opinion, I'd rather have McCaffrey. I'd rather have 49ers McCaffrey than Carolina's McCaffrey. Yes. Because in Carolina, McCaffrey did way too much for his body type. At the 49ers, though, McCaffrey's perfect. There's just so many other weapons around him, he can do what he needs to. Alvin Kamara, I don't know. I'm a Panthers fan. I think Kamara is really good because I had to watch him so much. However, some of the off-season stuff you might have to go through. I mean, here my, next step. Okay, who's better than Cook, who's paid less than Cook? Would you rather have Derrick Henry or Dalvin Cook?
Yes.
Would I rather have Austin Eckler or Dalvin Cook?
Cook.
My only problem with that is Cook can't catch the ball out of the backfield. he can't catch. He can't catch that well. His
Eckler can't.
His run blocking
can't run between tackles.
His run blocking skills are average. I mean, he can't block for the pass the best. Would I rather have Josh Jacobs or Dalvin Cook? Probably rather have Josh Jacobs. A little bit more upside. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. Yeah. Nick Chubb. I think I'd rather have Nick Chubb than Dalvin Cook. Saquon Barkley. I'd probably rather have Saquon Barkley than Dalvin Cook. Now, Aaron Jones, he's probably, I think he's like one of the most comparable to Dalvin Cook because Aaron Jones isn't the best catch out of the backfield guy, just like Dalvin Cook. However, Aaron Jones took a pay cut. So he took a pay cut to stay at Green Bay. Dalvin Cook refused to take a pay cut. Then you got other running backs. This is why people are trying to move away from paying running backs a whole lot. The Carolina Panthers just gave Miles Sanders a 3-year deal for $20 million. That's good numbers. There's Breece Hall. There's Damian Pierce. There's Joe Mixon. All these guys are younger. They're not overpaid. So that's why, when you look at it, let's look at it in a different world. So in a fantasy football world, does Dalvin Cook ever go top 10 running back? No. Because all he does is run the ball. He doesn't give you any kind of out of the backfield things. Some other running backs I haven't even mentioned that as I'm looking at this, I didn't even bring up the Colts running back whose name is eluding my mind right now.
Jonathan Taylor.
So, you got Jonathan Taylor who's probably better than him. There's just
last year.
There's just you got to have some bad years, but that's just my point is there's plenty of plug and play guys that can easily, take his spot, take his role, do what he does. So then if we're talking about a place to get moved, where can we send Dalvin Cook or where can Dalvin Cook re-sign? I think a great spot that Dalvin Cook could re-sign and take advantage of something. It's pretty shitty, but you're going to have to take some money, take a pay cut. Kansas City Chiefs are a great spot. They got Isaiah Pacheco and Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Well, Clyde Edwards is always hurt, so they're probably trying to move away from that at some point. Because Isaiah Pacheco, he's really good at catching the ball out of the backfield. He's not really powerful enough to just push a line. Dalvin Cook will push a line for you. You'll have to take a pay cut. The Miami Dolphins make a lot of sense. But the way that Miami Dolphins offense is run, I don't really see it working out too well, though. Because they want to pass out of the backfield. Dalvin Cook can't catch the ball out of the backfield. Okay, another place he can go. The Buffalo Bills. You're going to take a pay cut. But then you get to play with your brother. And your brother can catch a ball out of the backfield. And all you got to do is run between the tackles. And you come to my point here. My point is, you can't catch the ball out of the backfield. So And the way we move in this NFL world now, you lose a little value when you can't do things like that. And I think that's another reason why we're seeing Ezekiel Elliott. You know, he's sitting on the bench. Like, he's not even sitting on the bench. He's sitting in free agency right now. It's because, you know, people don't want to, you know, pay for that kind of thing if that's not what you're going to provide to the new changing of the guard league. Excuse me. I mean, I guess my last and final place that would be probably a great fit for him is like the Baltimore Ravens. I mean, their best running back is J.K. Dobbins. Okay, oh, big whoop, that's nothing. But like, you give Lamar a big beefy running back that can power through the middle that makes you have to think twice about Lamar running the play action a little bit harder than J.K. Dobbins. It's just hard to try to figure out where you can send him because you know there are these so many other guys, and if we look at free agent guys, you know, who are available, maybe not Zeke because he's been on decline, but I mean Kareem Hunt, he's a free agent. The last 2 seasons, he's just been playing second fiddle to Nick Chubb. His legs got to be fresh. When he did play, he looked really good. He'll be a lot cheaper. So, I mean, I watched this thing where Dalvin Cook was, you know, he was talking on a podcast and he was saying, "Oh, I'm not worried at all. I'm gonna get mine. I'm gonna get paid." If I'm him, I'm worried because I don't know if you're getting paid. There is no guaranteed you're getting paid. Not a lot of people are valuing the way that you play running back the same way, and that's why teams are constantly going younger. I mean, the 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 Vikings obviously thought that Alexander Madison can catch the ball out of the backfield very well. They're just going to sign him to a $2 to $7 million deal, $2 million to $7 million. Dwayne McBride, he was a rookie running back out of UAB. That's the way we start moving things nowadays. We just go to rookie running backs because if they did really good in college, they can translate, hopefully.
Okay, I see you. I feel like you made a good argument with there is probably more running backs than I thought. There were probably teams would prefer over a Cook. But I mean, it's just hard to pass up on a guy who's had 4 straight 1,000-yard seasons. He's had plenty of success for the Vikings. I know his number doesn't look too good at $9 million, or what was his cap hit, like 11 or something?
Yeah.
So I mean, I guess as a guy who's 28, he's drafted back in 2017. You know, they say running backs, you know, start to decline at about 30. So he basically has 2 more years, basically, of what a lot of NFL guys would say are prime years. But I feel like if you're a contender and you name some contenders, I'd probably give him a 3 year deal. Maybe the first 2 are guaranteed, and then that third year is probably partial. You named some good ones already. The Chiefs, they don't have money, so they would have to work something with Patrick Mahomes' contract. And Cook's going to have to take a pay cut, like you said. I feel like that makes sense. Bills, I feel like makes the most sense to me just because the Bills don't really have a running back. I feel like that they can trust at least. I feel like Josh Allen does too much of the running. I'm pretty sure he's led their team in running for the past like 2 or 3 seasons. So I feel like they need someone who can actually take the weight off his shoulders. Like Josh Allen needs to run less, not more. So I feel like the Bills to me are probably the best fit. I feel like realistically, and now he wants his money. So do you ask Josh Allen to rework his contract? Do you ask Diggs to rework their contract? Like they need money from somewhere. Do you ask Von Miller to rework his? I mean, those are your top 3 highest paid guys. You're gonna need to work with them to try to get some money because right now they're sitting at about $5 million in cap space. You probably needed at least get to about 8. The way Cook's talking, he probably wants about the same number he had. So I don't know if they can get that done. The Ravens, I do like the Ravens, but with like the RPO, I don't know if he'll be able, like you said, to be able to catch up the backfield if Lamar just needs to like dump it off to him. Um, so I don't know if that makes a lot of sense if I was them. I feel like the Chargers is probably a sleeper team because they have Eckler, but other than that, like who do they have as their backup? Who's their third down back? I feel like
Deion Jackson and Isaiah Spiller.
are they good? I never heard of them.
No, not really. I mean, the thing with the Chargers is they don't run the ball.
Yeah,
They just everything's a passing game with them, which
makes them really predictable though.
Yeah, because all you do is run screens all the time. Which
Yeah,
I mean, I've said it before. Eckler is amazing if you have another guy with him, and for the longest time they had other guys, but they've since gone on to get paid.
He's not a between the tackles guy. Like I feel like I picked him up for fantasy. All his points came from touchdowns, receiving touchdowns. He rarely had like 100-yard game, 100-yard rushing game. Like that's not his style. So I feel like if they had a guy who can actually run and get first downs, get short yardage gains, I feel like Cook makes perfect sense. And they have about $12 million in cap. Do you use all that on him? Probably not. But hey, if he'll take $10 million, like a slight pay cut, I feel like that's probably a good team for him. Dolphins, you already said it, so I'm not going to go over them, but they would be a good fit. But more importantly, I feel like running backs. I feel like even if we quickly talk about Saquon, like what's up with like he was the Giants last year. Like if he doesn't pop off, the Giants don't make the playoffs. Like I don't understand. Some of these guys, especially like the younger running backs, like if you're like 24, 25, why are teams not paying what you're like owed? Like I don't like a franchise tag. Like I get it doesn't work for him because you're capping what he could make. Mm-hmm. He's obviously worth more than the franchise tag. So I understand why he's like holding out.
Yeah, I mean, I just think I think it comes down to kind of like I don't want to be that person. Be like, oh, it comes down to like a respect thing. Like they don't respect them enough. I mean, because you paid, you didn't hesitate to get Daniel Jones his money. Yeah. He was average. He wasn't even anything exceptional. But Carolina paid McCaffrey right off the rip. Like, dude, you carried our team for 3 years. Here's some money. Did he get consistently hurt right after getting money? Yeah. But I always told people, I don't think McCaffrey's actually hurt. I just think they're so bad that they know they're not going to make the playoffs, so why waste my running back's talent? Why waste it? I never thought McCaffrey was hurt. I just thought they were playing it off as if he was hurt. But they paid him for those years that he was spectacular. And him getting paid at the 49ers now, like, oh, it's worth every penny. You can just see it on the field. It's worth every penny. Now the problem is they don't have any money because their weapons are so good. They don't have any money to get a quarterback. So, I mean, if I'm Dalvin Cook, I think you have to realize that, like, you're a little bit older in the years, like Aaron Jones realized. I'm in a good spot. I think he was... I get it. Minnesota's not the best place to play. It's a little bit freaking cold all the time. But when it's cold outside, you're actually on the road a lot. So, it's not the worst thing in the world.
They have a dome, so that he's straight.
I mean, he still has to live there.
Yeah.
But, it's like, dude, I wouldn't take Cook over Henry. I probably wouldn't take him over Josh Jacobs just because I know if I get Josh Jacobs, I know I got like 2 or 3 good years left in him. So
he's going to be in the same spot next year, though, because Josh Jacobs is franchise tag. So he's going to be in the same exact spot as Cook next year. Like, the Raiders aren't going to pay him either. So I think it's just like a recurring theme. Like, these guys, like, put the team in their back, and then they just get kicked to the, kicked off the mountain.
I just think it's because of how valued, in which, some teams value it, some teams don't, the quarterback position is. Do I believe that, like a Lamar Jackson deserves that much money? No, I don't. I don't even know. I was going to say, I don't even know if I just think Patrick Mahomes deserves that money, but Patrick Mahomes has gone to 3 Super Bowls in
Been the
his short.
been the
So
5 straight AFC championships.
kind of one of the guys who gets a pass. I'm kind of on the verge of. I'm pretty confident Burrow is going to deserve the money. Do I believe Josh Allen deserves the money? No. Can't really get over that hump. I mean, I just think that we overpay our quarterbacks before they even do anything. Like, you're paying Lamar Jackson that much money. Now you can't pay like a quarter of a third of your team because it's all in his contract. What is he shown for? He's won one playoff game. Like you paid Josh Allen all this money, but he's won like 2 playoff games. To be fair, though, one of them was he lost in 12 seconds, which wasn't his fault. But regardless, he still won you like 2 playoff games. You know, it's just overvalued at a position. Like they're going to end up paying Justin Herbert a lot of money. Okay, if Justin Herbert doesn't get to the AFC Championship game this year, does he deserve that money? And
he needs to win a game first. He needs to win a playoff game first.
And then you're going to see a player like Trevor Lawrence. They're not going to give him an incredible amount of money, but they're going to give him a lot of money. But he's kind of earning it. There's just certain guys who are going to get more money than like a Trevor Lawrence, who aren't earning it. Like we know that Herbert's going to get more money than Lawrence, but Lawrence is kind of developed a little bit better. He went from trash to pretty good to really good. He won a playoff game. Herbert hasn't won a playoff game.
Who was his? We gotta remember who was his coach his first year. It was a guy who was filling up on other college girls at his bar, and he got fired. So I don't think we can say he was trash.
Yeah, but anyways, now that you give him a good coach, I mean,
now look at him.
He looks pretty good.
Looks pretty good to me.
I just think that we overpay like the quarterback position. And that's probably one of the problems with paying them so much is, well, now the running backs can't get paid. And I think that someone's going to have to talk about the fact that just quarterbacks just get paid way too much money. And that's pretty much what ruins the entire league. That your quarterback, I get it, he's kind of involved with every single offensive play. But, in the past, mediocre quarterbacks have won Super Bowls. You don't need the best quarterback to win a Super Bowl.
Not every so often, but I wonder who started to. I mean, maybe Aaron Rodgers started the trend of giving me all the money or else. Like, I feel like he's the guy that started all this. So I feel like Tom Brady never got that much. Granted, New England doesn't really pay anyone, but even when he went to Tampa, he really didn't take a lot of money. Who else? Did Peyton take a lot of money when he went to Denver? I feel like no. Philip Rivers, did he take up a lot of money? I don't think so. Did Eli take up a lot of money? I don't think so. Like, if you're listening, maybe DM us on Twitter or something. Like, who actually started all this? Because I feel like you're right. Like, quarterbacks usually aren't worth it. Mahomes is. Burrow, he is. But, like, Rodgers, like, no. Like, Lamar, you have to see, but you can't be paying one guy like a third of your cap. I feel like that's just a third. No, maybe if you want to do a quarter or a fifth of your cap, yeah, I would agree with that.
So in 2000, the highest paid quarterback was Troy Aikman.
Okay.
At $9 million. That's pretty much nothing.
But nowadays, that's probably what, 30?
Let's see, 2005. In 2005, the highest paid was Steve McNair at $18 million.
Okay, so we're getting up there. So in 5 years, it doubled.
But, I mean, Carson Palmer in 2005 was paid $16 million. and he was 36% of the team payroll. So Michael Vick was paid 13.8 million and was paid 37% of the payroll.
Yeah.
So then let's go to 2010. And it even backed out. Tom Brady was the highest paid quarterback with 18 million, but only paid 20% of his team payroll.
Okay, so in between 5 years, we're still at 18 million. Okay.
Say 2015.
This is where probably you'll see a bigger jump.
Phillip Rivers the highest paid at 20 million.
Okay, so another 5 years, and we only go up 2.
And then 2020.
It's probably Mahomes.
I mean, that can't be right at all.
What?
It's just not showing me anyone in 2020. Okay, let's just go 2021. Okay, there we go. No, that's just not right either because it's saying the highest paid player is Deshaun Watson at 39 million. But then the next highest paid player is Kyle Trask at 1 million. So that's just obviously not right. But I mean, there you go. Deshaun Watson made $39 million in 2021. And in 2015,
it was at 20. So in between, it jumped.
Andrew Luck was the highest paid in 2017 at 24 million.
So maybe that TV deal that happened, what, 20? When did the newest TV deal happen? Like 2018, 2019 or something like that? Maybe it just spiked the cap so much that a third of your team's salary cap is just going to be 50 million, 60 million.
Yeah. I mean, but, you know.
It's still ridiculous. I feel like you're right. You tie all your money into, you tie 1/3 of your money into one guy. And then usually if you do that, he has a wideout that you have to tie like another third because now wide receivers make just as much as quarterbacks almost. Mm-hmm. So then you have 2/3 of your salary cap tied into 2 guys. So, yeah, I don't know.
In this one, it says in 2010, the highest paid player was Donovan McNabb at 24 million, and Peyton Manning made 20 million. So you're telling me there's a time and a place where Donovan McNabb was getting that bomb?
Was it the contract that the Commanders gave him? Remember he went to the Commanders and he got a new contract?
That freaking bum.
Hey, he went to 2 Super Bowls, didn't he?
Oh, went to 2 Super Bowls. Ooh. Didn't he want to go to 1?
Oh, he went to 2 NFC Championship games and went to 1 Super Bowl.
Okay, so did Jake Delhomme. Jake Delhomme.
Who's that bum?
Exactly my point.
All right, enough talking about bums, y'all. Let's move on to rapid fire. We have some hot topics coming for you. So we're back tuned. And we're here for some rapid fire. We got some two hot topics for you. First off, I'm pretty sure you already guessed it because we didn't really talk about it too much, but we're gonna talk about the Beal trade. We had our emergency podcast episode last week when the news first dropped that Beal was working with, the new president of basketball operations in DC, Michael Winger. Him and his agent were working to, facilitate some type of trade. And so it went down on Sunday, y'all. Beal went to the Suns for basically CP3, Landry Shamet, 6 second-round picks, pick swaps, and I think that's it. Some players are still being added because the trade hasn't officially closed yet, but that's basically the rundown, the main components of the trade. So, Lawrence, give me a grade for both teams. Just give me a grade for both teams. What are your thoughts?
I mean, I'll make it short and quick. I think the Wizards got fleeced hard. I give it like a C. And then on the Suns' end, I give it like a B. Like it's a good trade for what you had to give up. I mean, you were going to get rid of Chris Paul anyways. I mean, that was given. The fact that you got to just give him up and get something for it was pretty cool. Landry Shamet, I mean, his ceiling was coming off the bench as like a seventh man anyways. So easy pickings right there. I mean, second round picks are pretty much pointless to their win now mode anyways. So I think it just kind of boils down to the fact that it's good on paper. They're going to be, effective offensively, maybe challenge defensively a little bit because, Booker's not the greatest defender. Beal definitely is not the best defender.
Oh, no.
Kevin Durant only plays defense in the postseason. So, I mean, now you're going to have to develop your team. Booker's the point guard. I guess they did run that in the playoffs. I rather see someone else be the point guard, so that way shooting guard, small forward for both of them. They're still a little undersized for both of those for being small forward. Now they're going to talk about the fact that they have no bench, and the reason why they lost to the Nuggets was bench. I mean, you were going to give up all this stuff anyways. Like there's no telling. I mean, Landry Shamet's an easy peace offering for Bradley Beal. Now your money is tied up in like 4 people. So there really is no choice but to get rid of DeAndre Ayton. So now it's trying to maximize as much stuff you can get for DeAndre Ayton. And whatever you do pick up for DeAndre Ayton cannot be too expensive because we now need to pay other players. So
Yeah, okay. I'm agree with you. Wasn't the trade didn't really move me for either team. My grades, I feel like for the Wiz, they get a D. Yeah, they get a D. They pulled off the trade. It wasn't going to be impossible because they were going to be suitors. And I said it last week on last week's emergency episode. They weren't going to win any trade. In this trade, though, they got fleeced, like you said. Like I just can't imagine if you would have told me last week that Bradley Beal could be had for basically an expiring contract, role player, and just a bunch of seconds. Like I would have laughed. I'm like, nah, that's not going to happen. They probably want at least one first. But hey, I was proven wrong. For the Suns, I give them like a C plus. I feel like their biggest challenge, and you saw in the postseason, was defense and their bench. When the bench came in, the Nuggets always made a run. When the starters played 44 plus minutes, wasn't sustainable. Chris Paul immediately gets hurt, like what, game 2? I'm pretty sure like didn't Booker or KD get like a little banged up in game 3 or 4 or whatever? It's just not sustainable. Now you legit only have 4 confirmed starters, and then you get to fill everyone else out with basically minimum salaries. Maybe they keep campaigning. Maybe they find a way to keep Torrey Craig, TJ Warren, some of these guys, but from here on out, they're locked into those 3 big contracts. Like they have 3 max contracts. Well, technically 4. They have 4 max contracts on their roster, and they're stuck with all 4 of them. Technically, they're stuck with 2 because Beal still has his no trade, and Devin Booker, they're not going to trade him. He's homegrown. Well, they're not going to trade him. He's not going anywhere. So basically, you have 2 trade chips going forward, Kevin Durant and Ayton, and we pretty much already know Ayton's going to get flipped for probably 2 players. We'll see who those 2 players are. But I still feel like it doesn't make them the favorite. They're still like the 3rd or 4th best team, depending on how the Lakers fill out their roster. Depending on how the Clippers fill out their roster, they're probably still 3rd or 4th best team in the West. Depending on how the Warriors fill out their roster. So it sucks because I'm as a Miami fan. I wanted them to make the trade, but I'm glad they didn't give up the multiple firsts like they wanted, because if you could have gave just seconds and get Beal, why in the hell, if I'm Miami, why in the hell am I giving up multiple firsts if you could be had for seconds? It doesn't make sense. So good for them. Good for the Suns. Wizards, you did a horrible job. But at least now our tickets will be cheap.
Yeah. Cheap tickets is what we like.
That's what we like, what we want. Moving on, we have DeAndre Hopkins. He last week visited the Patriots. The Patriots canceled their last day of minicamp so that Hopkins could visit with the old man Bill. No agreement just yet, but there's definitely mutual interest on both sides. Plus, Bill O'Brien's back as the OC for the Patriots. So, Lawrence, do you think the Patriots are the best landing spot for Hopkins? And if so, does it change their fortunes for next season?
I mean, I think that the Patriots will be a lot better on offense than they were last year just because of the coaching change on the offensive side. Do I think that Hopkins changes a great deal of everything? No, I think they need a better, quarterback. I've never been sold on
MJ10?
Huh?
MJ10?
I don't even know who you're talking about.
Mac Jones.
Oh, there you go. I couldn't think of his name. I don't know how I couldn't think of Mac Jones' name. I don't know. I was a bigger fan of Bailey Zappi the few games he played. I can't even lie to you. And Bailey Zappi had much better college statistics. I still have a good feeling about my boy Willie Cunningham, getting a chance at that roster. I just think that I don't think DeAndre Hopkins is your savior. I mean, your problem with your offense is the fact that it's slow. It's just slow. There's no speed on that offense. DeAndre Hopkins is not a speed guy. He's not known for being incredibly fast. He's known for having great hands. So, I mean, if you're Hopkins, you're trying to go to a team which you don't have to be. I don't want to say you don't have to be the best wide receiver in the room, because pretty much anywhere you go, you will be up there. But I feel like you need to go to a team in which you're not going to be asked to be the guy. Like, oh, we need you to be the guy. And I think that if you go to the Patriots, you're going to be asked really hard to be the guy. Just because your next best player is Devontae Parker. So he's never really panned out. I just think there's a lot of better fits out there for him. I just think that his rules of which he wants to who he wants to play for are just way too hard or way too high. And I think he's going to have to get a pay cut. I mean, trying to join a team or join a roster at this point in a season and hoping and expecting big money is kind of hard. Most people who are going to get big money or expect big money would have already been on a roster by now. Or, have already made moves to go somewhere. I mean, there's only a few guys sitting left on free agency that are worth paying a lot of money for. Yes, you are one of them, but, how many teams that you have given the ability to take your skills can, one, afford you, and two, want to pay you. Because there's plenty of good options out there in which you said are not a contender because of certain criteria. And I think that certain criteria, is going to prohibit you from getting paid what you think you're worth. So maybe either reevaluate that.
Yeah, I agree. Patriots are probably not the best fit. I know the connection with Bill O'Brien's there, so that's why he's giving it some thought. He said he's not going to rush the decision, which is smart, probably try to wait this thing out, see who gives you the most money. You don't want to make any rash decisions just yet. There's still a lot of people that have interest in you. So I feel like you feel around, and then you wait until just about training camp's about to start. Sometime mid-August, and then you make your decision. I feel like you're right. He's going to be asked to do too much in New England. He's going to be asked to carry Mac Jones because he pretty much only has Juju and Devontae Parker. Those two aren't, they're not the best wideouts. They're good, but they're not Hopkins level. They're not OBJ level. I feel like better fits, include the Chiefs, the Bills, maybe the Raiders. Like, I feel like the Raiders could use another wideout. He needs to go somewhere where he's like a number 2. I feel like he's, probably lost a step or two. So right now he's more of just like a possession receiver, but he's one that, if you need a ball caught, throw it up to him, he'll go and grab it for you. So those are some teams that, should be on the lookout for his services. But, bro, just take your time. There's no need to rush your decision. Don't let Daddy Belichick force you into anything you don't want to do. So those are my 2 cents for you. But yeah, guys, that's the end of Rapid Fire for today's episode. We had a good show for you. Hopefully you enjoyed yourselves. Just remember to like and subscribe our videos on YouTube. Follow us on TikTok and Twitter at MTL Sports Podcast. And yeah, any last closing thoughts, Lawrence, before we head on out?
No, I just kind of want to know in the comments if anyone knows what started the whole quarterbacks getting overpaid, what quarterback was the first one to make that move. I mean, looking at those cap hits, I didn't even see that it was Aaron Rodgers as one of those made that first move by overpaying quarterbacks. So I'm kind of curious. I guess I'll do some more research and try to figure out who it was. I just think, like I said, man, it's like, dude, you pay one guy so much money. What are you supposed to do with the rest of the roster? And running back is no longer a pivotal piece anymore because of that.
Yeah, interesting stuff. So please put it in the comments. If not, maybe we'll have the answer for you guys next episode. And speaking of next episode, the draft is this Thursday. The NBA draft is this Thursday, so we will have our episode postponed to Friday so we can give you post-draft results. We'll let you know our thoughts of the draft. If any of the, the trades that go down there in the draft, there's always a few. We'll let you know all about it. But this has been episode 16 of the MTL Sports Podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed. And yeah, peace out. See ya.
See you.